I'll be so glad when they get that old Walmart building open and maybe they'll stop with all that bell fixing they're doing over there, trying to fix up the place. Oh, hey gang, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of Doc Schlock, where it's a review of the movie Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. Probably the most disappointing sequel in the franchise. Why? A lot of reasons why, but we'll get to that here in a couple of minutes. This one is the story about a killer priest. I'll admit that's kind of original. His name is Jonas, and on prom night, about 30-something years prior to this movie, he killed a couple that was going in the backseat of their car to get it on. He was put into a church where he was pretty much put in a comatose state for many, many years. And the guy who was pretty much in charge of the situation to keep him in a comatose state, he passes away, puts the burden onto another priest, but the priest, in his first time trying it, fails, and the priest gets out and goes to a summer home owned by a guy named Mark, who's in the movie. Well, actually, it's owned by his dad. And Mark and his date Megan and another prom couple go to their summer home to basically have their own little special prom night, but of course things go badly as the priest gets there ahead of time and starts, well, trying to kill everybody off one by one by one by one. Either he's working on a bell over there, or... Nah, they wouldn't do that. They got too many churches in this town. Anyway, the movie ends when Megan finally burns alive the evil priest. And apparently he blows up in this little building he was at. Megan is found barely alive. So they load her in an ambulance, Jonas in another ambulance, and right before the credits roll, both of their eyes open at the same time. Yeah. Thankfully, there was not a Prom Night 5, Deliver Us from Evil again. Why did this suck? Honestly, I liked the first Prom Night, and I liked the character of Mary Lou coming in for Part 2 and Part 3. Part 3 probably my favorite of the sequels, but Prom Night, the original, will always be my favorite in the series. And screw the remake. But this one was a real big disappointment. You know, killer priest, the gore in it was so-so. The acting was actually not all that bad, but it was overly predictable, and just that ending was just idiotic. And again, a killer priest, that was bad enough, but yeah. I'm not big on religion and horror movies making a mix of things. It just, I don't know, it just kind of makes you feel guilty for watching the horror movie. But when you put in a killer priest, that makes the horror movie even less fun to watch. And this one was definitely not a good entry in the series. Like I said, the first one was great. Part 2, bringing in Mary Lou Mahoney, I think it was good. Part 3 is just hilarious. But this one was really, 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 really bad. Like I said, I don't know. Predictable, pretty good gore, but ultimately overall, not a good entry in the series. Just really bad. You know, hearing all these bells, it kind of reminds me of that AC/DC song. Thunderstruck. Awesome song. Oh, lordy. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Doc Schlock. And if you like my videos, feel free to subscribe. If you have a horror, sci-fi horror, comedy horror, or fantasy horror movie that made you basically want to get far, far, far away from it in the hopes of finding something better to watch, send it my way and I'll get on it ASAP. Thank you so very, very much for watching, and until next time, for Doc Schlock, as always, stay strong and rock on. You know, he keeps hitting that bell to try and repair it. It's going to wind up looking like the Liberty Bell. Funny, I don't see him using a hammer. Ooh. He's going to have a headache tomorrow.